making the case for Christianity, the existence of God. Many atheists think there's absolutely no evidence for the existence of God.
That's right!
Got nothing! Nothing!
Because there's no God!
But there are actually a lot of well-respected professional philosophers who disagree. In fact, surveys show that a majority of philosophers of religion believe God exists, and they present various sophisticated arguments to back up this claim.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right, one argument for the existence of God is called the moral argument.
Oh, I know that one.
It's the argument that says Christians are the only good people, right?
No, that's not it at all. The argument is based on the fact that there are objective moral truths that apply to all people, and that this only makes sense if God exists.
Let's unpack that, shall we?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need you to explain.
Well, keep in mind that we're only trying to do a very brief overview here. If you want to understand each argument more fully, you're going to need to look at other resources that will be available in the notes section or on the Worldview Summit website.
Okay, fine.
Another group of arguments are called cosmological arguments because they argue from the existence of the cosmos. And one of the most well-known versions of these arguments is called the Coulomb cosmological argument. It argues that the universe began to exist, and because everything that begins to exist must have a cause, therefore the universe must have a cause. Furthermore, that cause is God.
So if everything must have a cause, then what caused God?
Gotcha.
Checkmate, ha!
Not so fast. You've misrepresented the argument. The argument is not claiming that everything must have a cause, just that everything that begins to exist has a cause. And since God, by definition, never began to exist, therefore we don't need a cause to explain God.
Oh, whatever.
Another group of arguments are called teleological or design arguments. Historically speaking, these focus on the design that was evident in biological life forms. William Paley famously argued that just as someone who has stumbled upon a watch can tell it was designed, so someone can tell that living things, such as plants and animals, have also been designed.
I've got one word for you, and that person is Charles Darwin.
That's definitely more than one word. But I understand your point in that Darwin's theory of evolution is often seen as refuting these types of design arguments. Of course, intelligent design theorists would disagree with you about your conclusion.
Creationism.
Intelligent design is not the same thing as creationism, and there's a whole lot more that could be unpacked here. But instead of going into all that, we should appreciate that there are also other types of design arguments. For example, over the last century or so, scientists have discovered that the laws of physics have certain very finely tuned constants in them that allow life to exist in the universe. If these constants were altered by even a tiny amount, no life would be possible anywhere. To understand this, think of the navigation controls on an airplane or a ship.
The navigation controls are finely tuned.
They have to be set exactly right in order to get to a particular destination. If the controls are just slightly off, then you don't get to where you want to go.
Hey, don't touch the controls.
Instead of your destination, you end up adrift in the ocean, or maybe in outer space, depending on what kind of ship you have. In like manner, if you change the fine-tuning of the universe by just a slight amount, you don't get human beings, or any life, anywhere.
It's a whole place, a finely tuned machine.
And since human beings and all the life on our planet seem to be the type of thing that someone would intentionally bring about, this forms the basis for the fine-tuning version of the design argument.
So are those all the arguments that philosophers give for the existence of God?
No, not really. It's important to realize that Christian philosophers, like all philosophers, have different views and ideas. Some of them will present other arguments for God, and some of them will reject the arguments presented here. All I'm doing is summarizing a few of the most popular ones.
That's enough for now.
Okay, but before we finish off, I want to share a quote from Dr. Thomas Nagel. Nagel is an emeritus professor of philosophy at New York University. He's very well respected, and he's an atheist. During the course of his career, he spent time reading the best and brightest theist philosophers. These philosophers haven't convinced him that God exists, but they have led him to say this.
I want atheism to be true, and am made uneasy by the fact that some of the most intelligent and well-informed people I know are religious believers.
If the brilliant Thomas Nagel is made uneasy by the level of intelligence and sophistication he finds amongst the believers he interacts with, that suggests that some of the arguments for the existence of God might just have something to them, and perhaps you might want to take some more time to check them out.
I'm gonna get right on that.
You might also like to watch the next video in this little series which explains the case for Jesus' death and resurrection. Just click on the link for more.